Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited for today's video. We're going to be talking about the worst makeup product I have tried in each category, or at least each category that I feel like I've tried quite a few products in, that I have enough experience with, enough products to share the worst product I've tried with you guys. So I have 14 different makeup categories today: primer, foundation, all of the things. So if this video sounds like something you're interested in, stay tuned. First, if you have yet to subscribe to my channel and you like project planning content or just chit-chatting about makeup, I would love if you'd consider subscribing before moving on. And other than that, let's get into talking trash about some trashy products. I'm gonna give the typical disclaimer that everybody has different experiences with different products and different makeup preferences. So what I think might be awful, you might think is makeup gold. We're obviously all entitled to our own opinions, and this video is honestly just all in good fun. It's like 10:30 at night and I was having fun just playing around with makeup, and I was like, you know what, my makeup's done, I may as well just sit down and film a video. And I thought that this would be a fun one to film. Also, we're back to like self-tanning stuff. Obviously, like, I'm in a better place if I'm self-tanning, right? And it would be alarming if I was giving myself like a good self-tan. So clearly my hand is so messed up. I'm actually very embarrassed by it. I'm gonna try and fix this later, but don't make fun of me. I know it's bad. I would love to hear your guys' answers or responses, or just like some of the worst products you've tried in the comments below, and let's laugh about some crappy products, okay? I'm gonna go just kind of in order as I would do my makeup, and I don't have physical products to share with you guys, so I'll just be popping pictures on the screen over here. But let's start with the primer category. If you guys are not new to my channel, you know I love primers, so I feel like I've tried a lot of primers, and truly, in my opinion, the worst primer I've ever tried, I have to say, is the Benefit Professional. For some reason, this primer pills no matter what I do. No matter if I have done my skincare hours before using this primer, no matter if I have like recently done my skincare, like, it does not matter. This primer will always pill on me literally everywhere. So it's like not even like, it's like one of those situations where like it's so frustrating that it's like makeup isn't even, like, doing my makeup then that day is like not even enjoyable because I'm so annoyed at all the pilling on my face. Yeah, it was between that and the Smashbox. Also the pore filling one, I'm forgetting which one that is. I think it comes in like the blue tube. There's so many other good pore filling primers out there. I just like cannot be bothered with those two. Next up for the foundation category, I have two foundations written down, and both are kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, and I could not decide which one to give it to. And the first one is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Foundation. I remember I was so incredibly excited to purchase this foundation, and this was a very, very, very expensive foundation. Jaclyn Hill was raving about it. It was like the only foundation she wore, and blah blah blah, and I just like was so excited to get this foundation that the first few times I started to use it, I like had already convinced myself that this was the best foundation on the market. I loved it. It made my skin look so beautiful and radiant. And then I started to like, probably like by like the third or fourth time that I was using this foundation, I was like, I know like I'm just now like really getting into makeup, but is foundation supposed to look this greasy on your face? Like, it just looked, it was like too dewy in my opinion, that it just did not look flattering on my skin. It looked greasy and it just was not cute. I know so many people love this foundation, and this, in my opinion, is one of the worst. And then the other foundation that I find to be one of the worst foundations, if not the worst foundation I've ever tried, is the Cover FX Power Play Foundation. And this was a very, very, very matte foundation, which is not my preference, but I had heard certain people like enjoy this foundation that like typically, or that like had dry skin, and they still liked this foundation. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be the best foundation for me. I was very excited to purchase it. I'm sure I purchased it in a shade that didn't match me. In fact, I think I purchased it in a shade that was too light for me, even at my fairest, which is a very scary thought. And so that, like, the fact that it made me look like a ghost paired with the fact that it made me look like a ghost that was like peeling, it just was not pretty. It was way too matte. It just made my skin look, I looked like a ghost in the Sahara Desert, if that makes any sense. Just not, it wasn't good. Not a good foundation in my opinion. Next up for concealer, this one was kind of tough because I feel like for the most part, I can make just about any concealer work. I used to like the Urban Decay like Naked Concealer that is not a concealer anymore, and then towards the end of that, I was really not liking that. I feel like I might be like missing something in my head, like missing something. Like I feel like there may be other concealers that I passionately did not like, but the one that like really came to mind when I sat down to like make this list was the Ilia True Skin Serum Concealer. And I think the reason being is this is just such a thin concealer that I really felt like it did nothing for me. And it's not like I have like a ton of dark circles or anything really to cover up. Like I don't need a lot from my concealer, but I truly just felt like this was just like literally nothing. And I would rather just like not have a concealer than have use the Ilia True Skin one. And it was just like very expensive too for such a low light coverage concealer. So that one, in my opinion, at least from what I can remember, I feel like I'm like forgetting one that, oh, I don't know. I personally like really did not like the original e.l.f. Camo Concealer either, but it's kind of a toss-up. For the powder category, for these, you guys, I didn't like do mass research on like old videos of talking about like products I didn't like. I just really tried to think of like the first product that came to mind when I thought of the worst product I've tried. So for the powder category, the first product was like the Laura Mercier like translucent powder that everyone loves. That just did not work for me. But then I was scrolling through the Sephora website to try and just like, you know, make sure I was like getting the full scope of things. And I feel like the worst powder, in my opinion, that I've tried was the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Loose Powder in the lavender shade. And the reason I chose this one was because I believe I returned that powder. I either returned it or like gave it to my sister or sold it right away. I maybe used it 3 times and I was like, this just is truly not gonna work for me. I do not like this. I'm going to return this, or going to, I think I actually returned that. And so rarely do I ever return anything. It might be the last thing I returned, and I purchased it I think at least 2 years ago, maybe 3. But it was just so heavy underneath my eyes, and it just did not look good. It did not look good at all. Did not like this powder. Powder is one category that I feel like I either really love a powder or I'm like, this just actually is not gonna work for me. And it's not one of those products I feel like I can repurpose in another way, specifically with like loose powder. I'm like, this just actually isn't gonna work. So for me, it had to be the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Lavender Powder. For the bronzer category, this was another tough one just because I love bronzer, and I feel like in general, unless it's like a shade thing, I haven't had any like terrible bronzers. But I think my least favorite bronzer that I've ever tried is the ABH powder bronzer. And this is another one that I feel like in the beginning I liked it because this was like when ABH, like just anything they released was so popular. So I was like, oh, it's an ABH bronzer, like it's ABH, it's gotta be good, I've gotta like it. But I think for me, they were more of red tone, like a red tone bronzer, which I don't necessarily hate, but it was also so pigmented, and I'm pretty heavy-handed with my makeup. So it just, in terms of like making it actually look good on my face, it just didn't translate well. So I did end up decluttering that one. I also thought about the Kosas one. I just wasn't a huge fan of that, but for me, I think the Kosas was just, I had it so hyped in my head, and then it just wasn't, like it didn't live up to the hype. Whereas the ABH powder, I was like, I feel like that one, in my opinion, was worse than the Kosas. For the blush category, I really struggled to think about like the worst blush that I've ever tried, and I've tried a lot of blush. I currently have over 60 or 70, I think I have over 70 blushes in my collection right now. Both cream and powder. It's not like only powder, but it doesn't matter. I have too much blush in my collection. I had to go with one of the Natasha Denona blush formulas, and it's specifically the, I want to say it's like the Diamond something blush formula. I'm thinking of the one in the Love Glow palette, and it's just so glittery. And I find that a lot of the Natasha Denona blushes are like glittery, where it's like chunky and not like very smooth. So it just doesn't necessarily work as a blush on my face in the way that I like blush to work. So I had to give it to Natasha Denona for the worst blush formula. Sorry, Natasha. For the highlight category, I have 2 highlights because I couldn't choose. Definitely the number one worst, like if I had to choose between these 2, the worst would be the Say like marshmallow, like cream slash liquid highlight. I purchased mine in the lavender shade. I'll post a picture right here. This was terrible. It was, I think, supposed to be a liquid highlight, and even if it was supposed to be a cream highlight, the consistency was so thick that like you had to like melt it on your hand before you could put it on your cheek, and it just was truly terrible. Like truly terrible. I don't know how anyone could get this product to work for them. I ended up decluttering it. It was truly one of the worst products I tried in 2021. But the other one, when I was scrolling through the Sephora website, I forgot about the Kaja Mochi highlighter, and I was like, oh yeah, that was not good either. Like it just, like the way that the formula was, it was hard to get it to like work on my cheeks in the way that I like a highlighter to. Like it was either like too subtle or like, I don't know, it wasn't good in my opinion. For the setting spray category, at first when I was like thinking through this, I was like, I'm not gonna have a setting spray because honestly, like a spray is a spray and like you can make it work for everything. But then I remembered the NYX Dewy Set setting spray, and oh my goodness, I don't understand that product because it's supposed to be a dewy setting spray, but it has alcohol pretty high on the content list. I want to say it might be like the second ingredient, pretty high on the ingredient list, not the content. Anyway, literally this dried my skin out so badly. I don't know, I don't even remember if it made my skin look dewy. I literally decluttered this setting spray because I felt like there was no way I could make this setting spray work. And like honestly, who does that? Who declutters a setting spray? You can always figure out how to make a setting spray work. For some reason, my skin hated that setting spray so much. It literally would like, I would get cracking in my makeup because it would dry my skin out that badly. So that has to be my worst setting spray I've ever tried. For lipstick, I had to give it to the ABH matte lipstick formula, and I feel like if you like matte lipstick, you would probably really like the ABH formula, but it was just like so matte and so dry that it would like drag on my lips when I would try and put it on, and it would like skip, and it was just like hard to apply, and it was drying, and it just like it just wasn't my jam. So I also feel like there wasn't really a lot of contenders for like such a terrible lipstick that like it could make the list. So I had to give it to the ABH matte lipstick. For lip gloss, this was a tough one because again, lip gloss, I kind of feel like yeah, there's obviously like great lip gloss formulas, and then there's like sticky formulas that aren't great. There's like the Too Faced lip injections, which are really painful, but if you like your lips to look super plump, like I get, there's a time and a place for that. But I decided to go with the Merit lip oils for this, not necessarily a gloss, but a lip oil. These are so expensive for what it is, and I feel like my lips ended up feeling more dry after consistently using the Merit lip oil than it did before I started using the lip oil. I did end up emptying that out, like I used that up in its entirety, but I feel like it did nothing, like it hurt my lips more than it helped my lips, so I had to give it to the Merit lip oil for this category. For liquid lipstick, I feel like I could, like there's three that came to mind: the ABH liquid lipstick formula, the Kat Von D liquid lipstick formula, I know people love, but it's so drying and uncomfortable, I just cannot. But the one I had to give it to was the Maybelline Super Stay liquid lipsticks. Now granted, if you wanted your liquid lipstick to super stay, like the name suggests, that's a great formula for you, but it is such a drying, uncomfortable formula. Like literally my lips are screaming at me in pain, and like they're hurting at the thought of the Maybelline Super Stay liquid lipstick. So personally, my favorite is the Dose of Colors. I don't really love a liquid lipstick just because I don't love the uncomfort of dry lips. So it, like, there's quite a few that I could say for this. Not that they're like bad products, but anyway. For the mascara category, I was also struggling with this, but then I remembered the Pat McGrath Fetish mascara. That was terrible. I tried that 3 or 4 times. I decluttered that mascara, and let me tell you, I don't declutter mascaras because I can always find a way to make a mascara work, just like setting spray. You just don't declutter that category. But every single time I use this mascara, again, I only tried it 3 or 4 times before I was like, no. It would literally transfer so far down on my face. I would find it like on my lips, in my teeth, on my cheeks. Like it was so bad. And so like the first time I was like, okay, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe something out of the ordinary happened today. Whatever. Tried it again, same situation. And I was like, this is not good. Tried it a third time, same situation. And then I was like, okay, F you, Pat mascara, this is just not gonna work for me. And I'm pretty sure I decluttered it after the third or fourth time. Terrible mascara in my opinion, but it gets really, really high reviews on the Sephora website, so I don't understand that one. For the brow product category, there wasn't a ton for me. Like I've used quite a few or tried quite a few brow products, but I'm not like super passionate about the brow category in terms of like what products I'm loyal to. So I had to go with the ABH brow definer just because that's not the style of product that I typically like for my brows. It's very waxy and I found it hard to use, and it would pull out my eyebrow hairs when I would use them, and it would just annoy me. So not that it's like a terrible product, but in my opinion, like it would be, of all the brow products I'd tried, the one I would want to try again the least. And then the final category is the eye primer category, and I haven't tried a ton of eye primers, but I had to shout this product out in this video because I just was so disappointed by this product. And it's the Milk Hydro Grip eye / like concealer primer. I was so incredibly excited for this release. One, because I was looking forward to a new eye primer. I really, for some reason, just get intrigued by Milk's makeup releases as well. I just get excited for them, so I was excited for that reason. It also said it was like a concealer primer, so I was like, oh, like a dual purpose product, this will be really interesting to try out. It is a terrible product. I first tried to use it as an eye primer, and first, like the wand that it comes with doesn't pick up product well, so I was having to like squeeze it, and then I was like putting it on my eye, and I was like, what is this doing? Like this feels slipperier than like anything I've ever tried. For me, it doesn't set down even. Like as an eye primer, it's like a no-go. I'm not using it. I am currently trying to use it up. I actually still have that in my collection. I could have held it up here, but I'll just post a picture instead. I've been using it as a concealer primer, but like honestly, what's the point? Like I just truly feel like it's an extra step, and I'm like, this product is just not worth the money. Not good, in my opinion at least. But I would love to hear your guys' opinions on these products or some of the other like worst products that you've tried in your opinion. Let a girl know in the comments below. Let us all know what we need to be avoiding. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to watch today's video, for supporting my channel as you guys always do. I love you guys so much, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.